Good evening, everyone. Welcome back again. My gosh. Okay, so this week I've been on a 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. Shift at Christchurch, which is really good. I met some really amazing paramedics, some new and some old, and really great vibe from all of them, which is really good. Today, boys and girls, for your pleasure, I want to talk about pseudo fits. Okay, we don't write it down pseudo fit on the paperwork, but essentially what that is, it means like an artificial or an unreal fit, a made up fit that someone is presenting. We went to a 22-year-old young lady, who had been drinking. And apparently every time she has a drink, she would have a seizure, a so-called seizure. We went in there, and the message was that she was unconscious, couldn't be roused. So instantly we thought on the way, she could be in respiratory arrest, she could go into, another seizure, so worst case scenario we're thinking, and planning ahead just in case. So the Para and I was talking in the front as we get there, and this is normal, you on the MDT, on the data head, of the computer system, on the system at the beginning of the I can't think, I'm too tired, sorry. In the front of the cab, it'll come up with the job, and it'll have a very basic information about what happened, depending on the information given from person to control, to whoever takes the information. So we were expecting worst case scenario, unconscious patient. We get there, and the boyfriend of the patient answer the door. Oh, she's upstairs, we're trying to get her to basically wake up. And we get there and we see this girl. She's sort of clothed, but not, properly clothed. And she's sort of thrashing around on the floor. Her eyes kind of normal, a little bit drunk. Basically, you can tell it's not a real seizure, and she's doing it for the benefit of her boyfriend, let's say, and her best friend, who was very concerned, both of them really worried, very frightened, and it was unduly worrying for them. Which kind of annoyed us really, because it's not, they're worried for her, and she's doing this. There's lots of telltale signs when it's a real seizure and when it's not. So I try to do the usual thing, talk to her, hold hands, tell me what my eye colour is, and then she proceeded to put her feet up on the wall. So her back was on the floor, and she was trying to move her feet up onto the wall, almost like an upside down. People don't do that. They also don't tell you to go away in a not so pleasant way, and then they don't look around, seeing who's looking, watching you, and then go, oh, and then I'm going to have another fit again, and making sure people are actually watching them as they are then trying to follow the fit, So I was trying to put a temperature in her ear, and oh no, you can't do that, can't touch my ears, So she was awake at that time. Okay, well, just on the temperature. No, can't touch my ears. Okay, fine. Blood pressure. No, I can't do blood pressure. Okay, how about BM? To have a look at the glucose, because sometimes if you drink a lot, your glucose levels drop, and you can have a problem because of that. And no, and I thought, I'm getting a bit challenging again. I like that word, challenging. And got to the point where she was mucking around so much. And I thought, I just want to say to her, I just want to ECG and things like that. And every time I was trying to do something, she'll make sure that people are looking, and then she'll have another sort of episode. And I said to her, right, okay, well, I have to take you to hospital. If you're like this, or you're obviously in such a poor way that we're going to take you to hospital, and I'm going to need to take some more bloods. And then she was like, no, it's like this. Like, oh, and then it was like, oh, they're looking at me again. Oh, I'm going to go back into a seat. I'm going to go up. My eyes are going to roll back again. And my crewmate and I just looked at each other. I thought, oh, great. So the poor boyfriend said, well, what do you think then? And my paramedic friend said, well, it could be mental health. She's obviously looking for some relief and something. Obviously, when it's a real seizure, we always take it into consideration, and we always take it very seriously. But you will get some patients who are just wasting time, and sadly, that is truth. You will get some people who are time wasters. You try your best, you get told to go away. And in the end, we had to leave her there, and she was fine. She wasn't even fitting or pseudo fitting, I should say, when we were leaving. And the boyfriend said, okay, well, we'll look after her. And she was fine, and they were very embarrassed, considering what happened. And her best friend was very embarrassed as well. And when we were left, the best friend said, don't worry, we'll have a talk with her. And I thought, great. So yeah, if you might come across pseudofits. But when you haven't experienced it, it can be quite worrying. And you do your best. You treat it as a real seizure. You treat it like a real fit. And the paramedic will be there with you anyway, and they'll have an idea if it's a true one or not. There's some people who can do a very, very good imitation of them. But there's always ways of finding out if it's a real one or not. And that just comes in time. That comes with seeing lots. That comes with experience, That's not to say that everyone that you see with a fit is pseudo-fitting. Majority of people who are called for a seizure are, truly having a seizure. It's just that there is the old one or two who love the attention of it. And it just takes time and experience to find out, what who they are, and because she's done this before. This other thing is we actually looked up past medical, as we need to see if she's been in before and what her medication was, because we didn't get any information out of the boyfriend or her, so we had to, for our own benefit, we had to look up her details. And she's done this several times, and self-discharged and all this sort of thing. So that was that. And also today we've had a sad one again. We've had a DOA, which is dead on arrival. And it was really quite, it was quite sad, because beautiful, bungalow, immaculate bungalow. My place is just a mess concerning, because we've got kids and stuff, So this 90-plus-year-old lady, she was extremely house proud. You can tell the love that went into her house, and there wasn't a cup out of sight, in place. The bedrooms are done. It was almost like going to a hotel. It's beautiful, beautiful. And sadly, the neighbours, obviously they were concerned, hadn't seen her for a while. One of them had a key, as an emergency key, and found her on the floor in her kitchen, and she was obviously very, very dead. We think she probably died last night, or early mornings this morning, at least 12 hours ago, because of the rigor mortis, the the blood pooling in her peripherals. Because when you see someone who's died and they've had rigor mortis, they've been there for a while. Even after 2 hours, even I've seen it. The body starts to discolour, where all the blood drops down to gravity. So you have this sort of discoloured colour at the bottom part of the body, whether it be the hands, if it's like down that way, the peripherals go brown or grey or purple or different colour. And the rest of the body goes a little bit white because all the blood drops. And this lady was, she must have just had a cup of tea, toast, reading the paper, and all of a sudden she just fell over, We noticed there was a couple of skin tears to her legs, where she might have fallen over and skin teared. Interestingly, though, there was no blood actually on the floor, so the feeling was she may have had something like a cardiac event, which stopped her heart, which then stopped the blood. And then, there's nothing that would come out very much out of these skin tears, which normally, considering the size of them, would have had quite a bit of blood on the floor. So we had to contact family, and I went around the rest of the house, checked to make sure there's, the heating was okay, but there was no fires on, the lights were off, there was no danger of the house being compromised in any way. And we left the window open in the room that she died in as well, just to sort of, as we say, butterflies fly free. So we always like to leave a window or a door open, which is one of our superstitions in the service. And there's a lot of paperwork to do, masses of paperwork to do. Contacted the police because it was a unexpected death. I mean, she was 95 or I think 90 something. No carers. She did everything herself. She did her own washing, her own cleaning, her own everything. Amazing woman. She would have been lovely, I think, to speak to, So the police came as a coroner, and we had to fill out the death of the patient paperwork. And then they get a copy, or they can be sent information through IG to back up their story of what they've seen, if it was suspicious or how the scene was and that sort of thing. But yeah, and then they contacted the funeral directors in the local area, so we left the lady with the police at that time. But it was really quite surreal, really. She sort of curled up in a sort of semi-fetus position, and still had her glasses on her head, poor thing, and her hair in a bun. And you sort of saw the pictures around the house and thought, beautiful, beautiful children, grandchildren, very recent ones by the looks of it as well. And the only thing I could think about with a smile on my face was that they enjoyed the holidays together before she died, so yeah. And it was a full moon, and I thought, you know what, it's a beautiful night, yeah. And she looked peaceful, even though she was in you know, on the floor, but she looked peaceful, like, you know, semi-fetal position. And the utmost respect, you know, with everything around her. We never touched anything. We had to, just to confirm death, what happens is that you use the defib device, the Zoll, and in the defib device, apart from the pads you have to do the cardiac arrests, you've got another little sort of lead that splits into three, and it has you have a 3 lead basically, so 2 on the wrist and 1 on the ankle, which is your red, yellow and green lead. I think, can't remember the colour was. And that confirms asystole, and then we have a listen to the chest to confirm there's no breath sounds, and again listen to the heart as well, and we check the pupil dilation if there's any. But so we had all these little checks and things, and confirmed that the patient had deceased. And then there's an envelope which we open up, and in that envelope is about the pamphlet which you can leave with the family, which has got our details in the back as well, which you write in, or you leave it with the coroner. And there's these little tags, you know, the little tags you have on when you go to hospital with your name and NHS number, very similar to that. So we have to put the patient's name and date of birth on there, and put 1 on the wrist and 1 on the ankle, and then everything else that is left, as you know, until the police come and until the coroner comes. So you know, we've done our job then, and that took us about 3.5 hours of paperwork and sorting things out and answering the phone to people who we couldn't say what was happening. We had to ask them to contact the family. So that in itself, they probably end up being suspicious, thinking, why can't I speak to, you know, this lady on whatever. But yeah, that was interesting. What else? And then I had another lady today, not very old. I suppose she was in her late 40s, maybe. And she decided that she would like to take quite a few tablets. She thought enough's enough, and she didn't want anything to do with life at that time. Her family phoned us up, and we said, you know, thank you for calling. And we sat there and we listened to her, and she was crying. And then she started becoming in pain because of all the tablets she had. She had a little bit of alcohol as well, which doesn't really help. But she's known to mental health services, and we just need to make sure that she was safe. So initially she said, I don't want to go to hospital. And, you know, if they are consenting, that's great. If they don't consent, but they've got all their faculties about them, it's quite difficult to ascertain if they've got a capacity to make that decision. But I didn't let her not go. I said, you know, at the end of the day, you're coming. You know, you have taken so much. She's got a youngster there, and it's only right that she goes to hospital and the family look after the youngster and she gets herself sorted. And I was speaking to her mother to mother, and that really sort of made her think, yeah, okay, maybe I should get myself sorted, which is great. So the thing about the job is that if you've got life experiences, communication with patients, have age, you know, experiences, it really helps because you can connect to different people in so many different ways. But On the other side, if you're really young and you've just come out of school and you want to do the ambulance service, that's fine as well. But I would really recommend you do something like some kind of work placement, work experience. In the old days, we used to do, was it YTS or something, a youth training scheme. I don't know if they do that now. That's probably when the dinosaurs like me were out there. But certainly, you need a life experience of some sort of, the most utmost is communication, absolutely. Without being able to talk to somebody, communicate with them, listen to them, the job is half done, at least, you know, if you've got those skills. The medical stuff comes later, you know, and to have a heart, you know, to feel and to have empathy for the people that you're talking to. You know, sometimes we come across patients who have taken so many drugs, and you know, and they're really upset that we give them Narcan to combat the whatever drug they've taken. They can be really nasty and horrible, thinking that we've just blown their what they call it, the rush, or whatever the word is that they use. Well, they spent so much money, and they don't realise that they've actually been pretty much dead when we arrived. But you have to think, well, you know, that's just another life saved, and you know, they'll do it again, and we'll just have to be there when we can to pick up the pieces. And there's always a reason for them to do this. You know, it could be, a lot of times it's mental health, escape, too much pain in their lives, you know. So when you speak to a patient, you know, there's always a story behind a patient, why they are where they are, why they're thinking the way they think. You know, no one is born depressed. You know, they're physically not born depressed. They're not born to be low mood. They're not born to want to kill themselves. They're not born to be killers in that sense. You know, there's something around them, whether it be a medical problem, whether it be an environmental problem, has started changing their psyche, they change their mindset, to then start thinking these things. Something has triggered these thoughts in one way or another. But yeah, wow, that's another long one for you guys today. So I should really go back to bed. It's almost like 3:30 in the morning, so it's a bit of a long night for me tonight. But it's always a pleasure to talk, and I really appreciate your feedback and your comments as well. You know, any experiences you guys are having now, or any questions you've got for these videos which are for you, then please do make a comment below, you know, and share the love out there. Alright, stay safe everyone. It's starting to become really cold now, so the ice and sleet and snow will be coming around soon, so no accidents, okay? Alright, take care, and we'll chat to you soon. Bye bye for now.